environment. And I am looking for approval of the March 25th, 2022 meeting minutes as written. I have a motion.
Motion. I'll second it.
In favor?
Aye.
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 Carried.
Carried.
And the executive report. Treasurer report is, you're going to go?
I can go. Yeah. All right, for the period of March 1st to March 31st in Belize dollars, we had a starting balance of $134,293. Our revenue collected was $7,708 in annual fees and just shy of $3,000 in donations. The ground and facility expenses are routine items. The only additional cost was $261 for the Central Park project, where we incurred nominal expenses to repair volunteer owners' chainsaws that were used in the project. In regards to capital expenses, we had budgeted to take $5,075 from the reserves, but the water pump, but the replacement came in at just under $3,200. So we're very pleased about that. Our expenses totaled $17,364, which seems high, but there was quite a lot accomplished this last month. We completed the brand new seaway pathway along the seawall, which was $4,995, as well as we topped up the existing path at a cost of $2,630. We were further able to negotiate with the contractor on site to use existing product, and we only had to purchase additional chippings to complete top-ups for the Mayan Seaside pathway for $1,000. That was budgeted at $2,550. That also included building up the lower areas on the path, as well as there's some sunken areas along the front seawall. So all the big rock that was left, they used to reinforce around the seawall. In addition, there were some spots around the Palapa areas that were not bordered in rock. They used rock to do that as well. So very good, very pleased with how the project worked out. All things are in order and nothing of concern to report on that on the financial side. I just wanted to comment and say that receiving almost $3,000 in donations this past month is tremendous. And once again, we'd like to thank all who donated monetarily, donated their time, supplies, equipment. We had people bringing out food and beverages for the projects we did, for work parties, and using their own personal vehicles for the projects. And this all speaks to the spirit of this wonderful community that we have here at the Seaside.
Here, here.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
The second quarter, or the first quarter report for the period of March 1st to 31st was completed and will be sent out along with the minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And now we have the grounds report. We had the Dr. Alan Moore of the Institute of Archaeology came out for a return site inspection. Actually, Christine had asked him to come out to have a follow-up to his site inspection, which was in 2020, I believe. And he wrote a really nice letter back, so I'm just going to read that out. It says, "Dear Mrs. Arneson, this is to thank you for your invitation to carry out inspection of the archaeological mounds situated on the residential ground of mspoa in Consejo Corzo. Based on our visit, we are pleased to see that the mitigation steps formally recommended by the Institute of Archaeology, NICH, are for the security and stability of the house mounds are being followed. The gaping holes atop the mounds have been filled. These will prevent further collapse to the structure and will allow for more stability and longevity. The grassing program is coming on well, and when fully grassed will prevent surface erosion. This will then provide an additional space where kids can run around and play, since it wouldn't affect the loose surface. As for the mangrove, you should encourage their growth along seashore to prevent or slow coastal line erosion that might eventually affect the mounds. In sum, the Institute of Archaeology is pleased with the efforts you and your team have put in to secure the integrity of the mounds, and for this we are grateful. In the meantime, I would like to thank you and the association for all the work you have put in and for being good custodian in assisting the Institute of Archaeology in our efforts of protecting and preserving Belize's cultural heritage. Assurances, Dr. Alan F. Moore, Associate Director, Institute of Archaeology, NICH." Okay, moving on to outstanding business. Let's start with Christine.
One of the items was the ramp on Maya Beach, making accessibility, better accessibility. We kind of put that on hold for a bit just because the water is so high. And we're actually now looking at alternatives and want to get some quotes on perhaps another means such as fiberglass stairs, so we don't have to actually break into the seawall. Now that we have that option, we knew we couldn't put wood stairs in, and that's why we were looking at the ramp, but now there's available other materials available, so we're going to look at that. So that's still ongoing. The Mayan Seaside entrance sign, that has been started as far as giving a disbursement to the artist who will be completing the sign out of fiberglass. So contract has been signed with him to have that in place about April 23rd or so, and no later than that, no later than the end of the month. So that's exciting, so we look forward to that. The other item I had was following up on removing damaged trees that had been previously taken down on a private lot but left. So those have been all removed, and the owner who had initiated the request is satisfied with the clearing of that area, so
Okay.
that's complete.
Christine, now for my portion. Let's see what I've got. So for ongoing grounds maintenance, again, I been working with Flacco just on a daily basis, getting his input on things, but there's nothing specific going on at this time. So I think we'll just table this for now because, instead of just saying there's nothing specific to report, until something comes up that I think that we need to include in the meeting for next
Yeah,
time.
we
Is that
can close
are
this.
we in agreement for that?
Sure.
Okay. Regarding, okay, thank you. Regarding the roof tiles missing on the kiosks and the utility kiosks need painting, I'm gonna lump that together. The roof tiles have been ordered. I did source those from the supplier, and they have been ordered, and we should receive those next week. I requested 4 quotes for repair painting of the kiosk and tile roofs. I've received 2. I should receive the other 2 soon. So just waiting on that to move forward. As far as the sand and varnish painting totems, pergola chairs, and tables, again, requested 4 quotes for this project. I've received 2 back. Should receive the other 2 soon. So as soon as I get the quotes in on both of these projects, I'll forward those onto the board, and then we can discuss where we want to go from there. Purchasing the spare pump. The spare pump has been purchased and it has been received. It is currently in-house. And then the maintenance building parking area posts. We discussed this at our last meeting, repairing or replacing these rotting posts that were encircling us here, and nothing was agreed upon. So what I suggest doing is I can look into the cost for a few different options, whether it be replace them with the wood that we kind of currently have now, maybe PVC, maybe just doing rock, and then present my findings and we can go from there. How does that sound with everybody?
That's great.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And that is me. And then we have, let's see, Greg.
On Central Park?
Yeah. I know you're just getting back, so.
Well, I'm just getting back, that's okay,
Yeah, so you
but our
have
next
some-
thing will be the water. That's where
Right.
we're going next.
Right,
Try to
okay.
get water brought in. So, and so it's accessible to all those flower beds we have in there.
Right.
And we'll get that done. That's my next thing.
Get water, so
Make
phase
his
2.
life easier to fly, dragging the 200-foot hose around or whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna work on that. That's the
Okay.
next thing. Won't take long with that.
Great.
Okay.
And then I guess we had the top up the chip stone on the path behind the mounds. That's actually been completed, so while you were gone.
Yeah.
That was included, and that's
Yeah.
already been discussed, so.
Yeah, it looks good. I was over
Yeah,
there
it
yesterday.
does look nice.
Yeah. It'll help slow down that
That erosion
seawater coming in.
coming in
and
over it,
back.
exactly. Okay. Okay, John?
So the new seafront path has has been completed, along with a sitting area just under the tree, a little shaded area that was created. We did have one of the picnic benches that had been generously donated there, but it was moved down to the Palapa area, and there's been some loose discussion on what to put there, whether it be a couple of benches or, so we may do a little bit of an assessment, have a look around, you know, what items we have where, and then just determine, but there will be some seating that goes back into that area so people can walk and have a seat in the shade on that. The contractor, Arturo, that did the work on that, had quoted that he did it on budget, he did it on time. His workers were respectful. He came with the work crew, the size of crew that he suggested that he would be using, and so I thought it was a very positive experience working with them, and I thought they did quite a good cleanup on the site and distributed and just took direction on what we wanted done with the leftover material. So, and the top-up chippings on the existing paths, we've had some. I've had a couple people that have approached me with positive remarks that it's considerably easier to walk on and to bicycle on, and I think it'll even become more so as it packs down a little bit of moisture, that it'll become a harder surface and just get easier to navigate. The next one, I'm sorry?
I don't think you
No,
had anything.
okay, the next one was the maintenance building panel door. I have yet to, Marv did give me the keypad entrance, and I've yet to install it on the door. I've just got it at my house. So I was away, so I'll put that in. I don't think it's gonna take me very long, so. And this is a keyed set that is the same as the one that we put onto the bathroom door. So I'll have that installed shortly. The second railing on the dock stairs, that's an ongoing, we touched on this last time, there's a temporary one there. We do have a price to have a fiberglass second railing, permanent one go on there, a fiberglass one. I had suggested, and I can't remember if it was just in discussion, or I don't think it was at any kind of board meeting, but at the time, and I don't know how we'll fit this in for time frame, but I would love to see those stairs. Those fiberglass stairs were designed with a pivot, and I'd like to see them brought up. Maybe that would be the time that they could, just so we can inspect them to see that they are, what kind of shape they're in. Make sure that this system is working, that we're not having issues with it under the water. And then at the same time, they might be able to install them, get them propped up, kind of temporary, and line it up with at the same time for that permanent fiberglass railing to go on. So I'd love to. Now that I don't know as far as time frame goes. That was something that, like I say, I don't know. It wasn't brought up at a structured meeting. I just kind of had it rolling around in my head that it would be a good idea. And that's all I've got. So.
Could I just add a comment to that?
Yeah.
Sure.
It was a lady that uses the dock a lot mentioned that the 2x4 rails were bigger, like, and this makes sense for a lady's hand.
Mm-hmm.
And they were wondering, when you look at that second rail, if we could make it so it's easier for them to grab.
To grab, so
Yeah,
it's not as
get
wide.
their hand around it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's
So that's just
interesting.
a thought.
Smaller top rail.
Yeah.
And the last item we had was the reserve fund study.
Yeah, I think we discussed just kind of this needs further discussion. Greg's been out of town for 3 weeks.
Yeah, so have I.
And you've been out of
Yeah.
town, and I don't think we've had a really ton of, so I think we need to divert this to the next meeting.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Okay. So, there's no new business at this time. Let's go to the questions from the community. I'll let John.
Sure, and we did have, and this is great, I'm, you know, and we encourage everybody, just as, before I get into this, we encourage everybody to ask questions, give comments, give us concerns, because that's, unless we do, then we can't bring it up, you know, for discussion. So I really thank everybody who did have input and put in some questions. Thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
The first one we have is, can we add paths to the shuffleboard area from the direction of the maintenance building and another in the direction of the bocce court? So, and I've talked to this person, they had approached me as well as sending this in, and had said, you know, we quite often, you know, the community will meet over and have some games, or you know, it was created as a games area. However, you're kind of walking across the spongy grass, and some people, if they have you know, some limited ability to, you know, to walk or what have you, we have nothing structured there. And they had just kind of said, well, you know, is it possible that we could get something maybe coming off, kind of going around the mound and then just into that area in order to properly access the games that we have? And I thought, well,
Yeah.
it was reasonable. And
Yeah.
so we've brought that up as a question. The next thing would be that we can discuss it as a board and then effectively get some pricing on it. Maybe have a little walk and see exactly, you know, what would be a
Good place to put
the
that,
place to
yeah.
put it, and
Mhm.
then try
What
to
would
get
be the
a
most effective?
price for it.
Yeah. Because you
So-
do, when you go over there, you do have to walk through the grass, which isn't
Yeah.
good for the grass that's trying to grow there either, I don't guess. But it
Yeah.
also doesn't allow for people with mobility issues to get over there very easily.
Exactly. So that was the number one.
So that's something we can just.
That will be, I think that we will, you know, my answer to it, or my opinion would be that we could maybe take a rough measurement of it and then just see what kind of cost would be involved in that.
Okay.
You know, whether it go to making an exact you know, job out of it, or
Mhm.
do we just price it, get a you know, a ballpark type of a price
Mhm.
for it? I'm not sure. You know, we can.
Well, I know a rough idea. We know that it's probably going to be about $1,000 in materials alone, just because if you want to mirror the same look and feel of the other paths
Mhm.
and do the big rock,
Mm.
a load of that big rock is $550
Mm.
and the chippings around that. So
We could essentially take and dissect the length of that path and just
Yeah.
see what we have for this,
Mhm.
and we could do that without even looking out to contractors.
right,
And
yeah.
we would have a pretty good idea of, you know,
But we can't, we would have to pay for that material, and if it's not enough to use, if it's too much for these paths, then we're sitting with
I
rock
get it.
and material sitting,
well,
so,
I don't think that it would be, I think it would be something that we would want a contractor, not for us to take
Yeah.
on as any kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. If it's 1.2 loads of material, then we're at 2 loads of material
Material.
to do it. So I understand
right,
where you're
yeah,
going with
yeah,
that.
just,
So it's not necessarily by the foot, but say it comes in close to half the length of what we did, then effectively I think that the cost would be close. As far as just using as a
To
ballpark
ballpark it.
Yeah.
and seeing if there's more interest in the community for something like
Yeah.
that.
I don't
is
think
really
it's
what
a
it
bad
comes down
idea.
to.
The other consideration we want to have is making sure our contract with Loza, like if, our staff that are cutting around those areas, We
If it
want to make
changes
ease,
yeah.
right? Now we're putting in a bunch more
Accessibility and-
accessibility,
yeah.
the placement of that, we'd have to
Sure.
consider as well.
Sure.
You
But we
would
can
have a
definitely-
really good idea, because you already have, that walkway in place with total cost in the length. You just take the length of that and see what it is, a running foot or a running yard. And then just gives you a ballpark figure of the length, when you get a length on that new one, that you could just get a pretty good idea, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
No, I agree.
yeah.
So, moving forward with that one, do we get a number or a a guesstimate number to that, and then see if how much of the community is interested in, there's several things here that we have to go through, so and a number of them come with price tags, so then it's going to be a matter of what's more important than,
Yeah,
Prioritizing.
absolutely.
so a
Yeah.
prioritization of it, as per what the owners would like
Want
to
do,
see
yeah.
happen.
I don't see any problem going ahead and getting a guesstimate on this.
So I've
And
got
then we can put a
I've got
list.
the numbers on that and the
Yeah.
thing, so I can provide that before the next meeting
I-
to get a pretty good idea
I
of
think-
what that is, and
Yes,
good with that?
yes,
Okay.
and then we can, go from there.
From a treasurer's point of view, the cupboard is bare.
I know, right?
We've kind
We're
of,
not- yeah, we're
we
kinda
spent a
tapped
lot
out.
of money
But
this
this
year.
can be something that we
I
can-
love the idea, but I just,
know.
all I'm saying is, we don't worry about it for the next meeting or whatnot, because
No.
the all likelihood of us completing it
It's not gonna
in the
happen
next
this
few
year.
months,
No.
No.
it wouldn't
No.
be,
But it's something to go ahead and put out there.
yeah, absolutely.
Because, and this can be something that we can look to, it's not gonna be something
Just
that's
give
gonna
you
happen.
an idea of the direction you want
Right,
and all that.
it's
Then
obviously
you'll
something
have
we wanna respond to.
Have that information.
Yes.
Next question, can we use leftover small rock from the path project to protect the Mayan Mound path before adding chipping? So
That's been done,
that has been done, so the answer is yes, we can do
Yes.
that, absolutely, and it was.
yes.
Number 3, I'm concerned about the amount of poison used at Mayan Seaside, especially the 2 pipes by the dock. Every month poison goes into the sea to keep seaworms away from the planks on the dock. Why are we putting poison in the sea? People swim here. How effective is this anyway? In regards to that, the pipes that are put out by the front of the dock, it's just about a half inch or a 3/4 inch pipe with a cap on it, and we have a contract with
Francisco.
Francisco.
and it's not for seaworms. That is for termites. We had a substantial amount of termite damage to the old dock. That really was the beginning of the deterioration of it. Nobody really investigated. We'd had no program at all for it, and it wasn't until we started to actually do some work replacing some of the planks that we identified that there had been a substantial amount of termite damage. So those are put in, and the pesticide used basically saturates the ground, and I imagine that there's some leaching effect. There's leaching effect on everything into the sea, but it is that's what it's for. The chemical is for termites, and just to create a barrier that they will not penetrate. And a few people in the community have used them with some success. I personally don't. I have a different method that I use. Just as a side note, and this was before this question even came in, I just happened to be swimming in the water, so I thought I would have a look underneath there. So I went right down to the end to where it connects onto the ground, and there is nothing. There is no effect. Now, it hasn't been that long, but there's nothing right now. So effectively, it might be working. I don't know. I can, moving forward with this, I can ask Francisco to get an MSDS, I think it is, a material safety data sheet on that will give you the specs on what it is that he's using, and I can do that, and he should be
Yeah.
able to provide that for us.
Yeah.
and then we can just have it on hand for anybody that's concerned about it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an astronomical amount of chemical that's put in there, so I think that the absorption and then anything that would saturate or end up in the water would be minuscule in the big picture.
And the main thing is if it's effectively treating the termites that did significant damage to the previous pier, then that's what we're
Then, that's what we're after, yeah.
That's what we're after.
So that is the
Okay.
that's what's happening there.
Oh, gotcha.
And I will ask for that just so.
So we can have it, yeah, on hand. That's
Just so we have it
yeah,
on hand.
that'd be good.
Number 4, there used to be a stair at the other 2 dock platforms. When the pier was repaired, they were never replaced. Several people have mentioned it. Sometimes the current is strong and it pushes you away from the existing stair. Another set of stairs would be helpful. So we, as far as the answer to this, I would, or the board would consider definitely putting in another set of stairs. They would have to be of a fiberglass nature, and I would love to be able to put this in the right order and actually have that set of stairs raised, just to make sure that we're not putting something else in, more of something that's not going to give us the longevity that we want.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I think that we should price it out, get a pricing in it. I think it's valid.
Well, at least one set.
Just one set.
Yeah.
I think a second set of stairs. I'm not sure that we need one on
Yeah, but for sure.
each platform
Right.
for the length of that, but upon us discussing this, I think that we thought that it's not unreasonable to have a second set of
Yeah,
stairs.
for sure.
So I think moving forward, we'll try to get some pricing on that. We have
In fiberglass.
in fiberglass.
Right.
And we have one person that's doing some fiberglass work for us with the signage and has given us a quote, which we haven't accepted or anything on that handrail, but he has given us a quote for it. So we can maybe ask him for a quote. We can ask the suppliers of the one that's on there right now, if they'd like to give us a quote on it. And just see where we come in with the pricing on that.
John, I agree 100% that it's a good opportunity to check and see how well those stairs are holding up. And so I'm totally on board with that. And I was wondering, and I honestly have no recollection, but on the original pier, how many sets of stairs were there going into the water?
There was one on each of the lower platforms had one, and then there was one on the main platform at the very end. There was 3 sets of stairs on it, the original dock that we had set out. Now, we replaced the stairs, and I think that don't hold me to this, but for quite a number of years, there was 2 sets of stairs. The third set, as it disintegrated, was never replaced. And then we had 2 sets of stairs for a while, and then it became dangerous, the other one, and was removed. And then when we had the dock refurbished, then we had just asked for 1 set of stairs on it at the time from the contractor. That was
Right.
that was what was priced out. I guess it was thought at the time by the board that there was very little use of the other stairs that were there, so there was just no. And it was really about keeping to a reasonable price point. So that was the decision at the time. That was what drove the decision. And then those stairs actually disintegrated as well. So we approached the contractor, and then we paid for an upgrade from the existing stairs. They covered the cost of the stair, and we covered the cost of the fiberglass for them, and that's my understanding was on that. So we basically upgraded from a wood stair once the they got gobbled up in less than a year, and then we went with this fiberglass. So we're hoping that it's the solution, but prior to us moving forward with more, I would really love to have a look and make sure that it is the solution. So that's kind of where we're at with that, Doug.
Okay.
Historically, that's my best recollection.
But we do agree, or that, I'm not sure if it's really that far along, but that we're going to at least consider putting a second set of stairs on the other platform,
Yeah.
or that's a decision that's been made. I'm just trying to get current.
Yeah. Right now, I think that I think that we all thought that it's a very reasonable request, and we were going to price it out and just see where it comes in. And again, as Christine had mentioned, we're virtually had our capped off at our budget as far as some of the things we've done. So I don't know. And then this comes back to what I had discussed, once we kind of go through this, we're going to have some community feedback on prioritizing where these things come in. Where do we spend the money on what items? So there's several things that people have suggested, and then there's still some maintenance items, and we'll kind of get maybe a little bit further on in that.
Yeah, point taken. I get that. No problem.
So yeah, I think it's valid, and we're going to find out, cost part of it, and then we'll try to see where it fits in timeline. So I think that as far as that question number 4, that we do price it out. We try to get a hard price on what that is. I think that I can probably, with regards to Herman, I can give him the rise on that just by getting a tape measure, and he should be able to generate a cost just from the rise. They're going to have a set run on the stairs. If they use the same run that we have, I can identify to him that we want like a 2x2 handrail top rail rather than a 2x4 top rail, that we want it on both sides, and then kind of work from that. So
I agree.
And then we can do the same with giving the same specification to, I'm not sure the gentleman's name that's doing the other fiberglass. Alvaro. So we can give the same specification to Alvaro, and then see where we come in with that. And if it ends up a high priority, then that's what we'll be doing next. Funds available. The next question, regarding the Old Smugglers Road, Ray Wagner and Art had an agreement that Art would maintain the roadway and Ray would keep the brush cut back. Now that Smugglers Den is closed, will this now fall to mspoa to maintain? Don't know.
Good question.
It is a good question, and it's valid, and some people might have noticed that BEL came in and did their swath along the other side, and both Sue and I said, "Oh man, we should have grabbed them and said just
do this
cut the other side."
I don't know why we didn't.
Because there was like eight guys with machetes, and it's like, oh
my God.
So
Yeah.
I don't know about that, how that's going to work out. We've approached Ray, I think, or Sue, or
Christine,
and haven't really received any hard anything from Ray. So I don't know that we're going to get this is what I'm going to do or not do. It's kind of a little more wishy-washy. So it's going to need to be done, and it's going to need to be done sooner than later. It's starting to encroach on the road, and I've mentioned to a couple people, and I remember this from way back, but you know, there's actually a road allowance from those poles coming out, so the road has effectively shifted right over to the edge of the pole, and it's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be over the other way. You know, we're not supposed to be driving with our door handle, you know, coming that close to those poles. So we're gonna have to have a look at what that looks like if we, you know, maybe moving forward, maybe we should look at pricing it out now. We can ask Chris, we could ask maybe, Ricardo, pardon me, see if Ricardo can, I'd like it not to be one or two people, because it's just it's too much. And I think that the bush will have to be hauled away because it's so dense there, you can't throw it back in. It's gonna have to be cut and removed. So, I suggest that we can still attempt to talk to Ray. I'm happy to have a discussion with Art and just see if there's anything that I think it was just a handshake. I've never seen anything on paper on that. It was just something that was just done. So I think that we really have to look at, it's something that has to be done, and it is going to affect us. So let's get some price on it.
Okay.
And then move forward from that.
Okay, so do you want me to do that?
If you can do that,
Yeah.
that would be fantastic. Yeah.
Hey, John, what was the acronym you used to describe the group that came in?
What?
I'm not
For the Institute of Archaeology you're talking about?
No, I'm referring to the group that came in and cleaned up the other side of the road.
For
they
BEL.
were for BEL. I
They
think
work for the electric
they
company.
were cutting for the electrical line.
Yeah, they do that once a year, I guess. It's like usually
So
once a
they're-
year.
So they'd rather come in with 8 guys and then they can take it with machetes, rather than if they leave it too long, now you've got trees to deal with.
Yeah.
Right, I agree.
So we're kind of at that tree part already, I
Yeah.
think, that we're at the point where you're gonna need a chainsaw.
It's been a couple of years since
Yeah.
since they've done
And it just
anything.
doesn't seem to take that long, man, and it's already kind of encroaching over the road, so.
Would it be futile to make an effort to try to get in front of that for the next time they're in?
You know, well,
It wouldn't, if we would have approached them, it would have been like with money in hand.
Yeah, hey, where's
It
your
would not
Hefe?
have been-
Where's
they-
your
they
Hefe?
were-
Here's $100.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a contract, it would have
No.
been like, I've got $100 or $200,
Since you're
and
here.
we would have had to kind of deal with however they left it.
Exactly.
And they
Uh-huh.
would have hauled it away because
No.
they weren't hauling
It was
anything
just
away.
a slash.
It would have
It
been,
literally took them 30 minutes to slash Smuggler's Road
yeah.
on
Huh.
that side. It took them,
It
I mean,
was-
they were just, they slashed it.
It was
and-
like a
and
lawnmower.
ran. It was
Going.
yeah.
Yeah.
They just put 4 guys here, and they just started going.
As much as we said, you know, knee-jerk reaction, let's
Right.
get them to do it, I don't know that
It wouldn't have been thorough, no.
I think that we would have gone kind of an, oh, you got a half.
It would have been very half, yeah.
So
Anyway,
you know, we didn't, and moving forward, I think we just have to look at getting it done properly.
right.
And then we might not have to do it again for another, you know.
Couple of years,
couple
because it
years,
has
so-
been, I know it wasn't last year.
No,
I don't know if it was the year before that, but I'm thinking it was year
I think
before
it's
last.
been two.
At least 2 years.
years.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you
Since
think
they've
3
done it.
years? Yeah.
Okay,
maybe.
so see, so doing
I've
something
been
like
here
this,
for 2 years.
Yeah.
And the boys were down there.
So doing something-
2 years before that.
yeah.
it was
So
like
doing
3 or 4
something
years.
every 3
Yeah,
years,
that's
I think
not
is
enough.
not,
Yeah.
Because now it's gotten to that point. So not only about getting this to where it should be,
Yeah.
we may have to look at getting, if there's no, you know, nothing coming in from Wagner's, then we may have to look at this as a budget item that we do as a regular maintenance, and just take it on as that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
To continue
the road.
having proper access,
And, yeah.
so.
And I guess we could see if any of the other subdivisions wanted to pitch in.
Well,
Never mind.
we can ask.
I know,
It
right?
doesn't hurt to ask,
I
you
guess
know,
not.
and it doesn't hurt to ask.
There are some people that live here year round that
There are.
would be happy
That-
to say, you know, well, you know, divide it between 100 people and tell me how
And
what
then
my
if
portion
you're
is.
wanting to, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not
Whatever.
like nobody lives in Wagner. So
Exactly.
and I don't know what their agreement is. I've never seen their agreement, so I
Well,
don't
we'll
know
just-
how.
I'll price
that
it out and
works.
we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Incidentally, I did talk with Art about that, and it was just a gentleman's agreement, and he didn't think that it was likely that it was going to continue on Ray's part.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
that's I guess that's what our assumption is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're assuming
You're
that
gonna
that's
have
what's
to-
going to happen.
We're just gonna
Okay.
have to take over. Okay.
Moving on.
Number 6, when you refer to such projects as item 3 under ongoing maintenance, you describe the path as going from Lockmiller's to the driveway. For those who can only refer to the map, please provide a lot number for the Lockmiller's lot and also indicate which driveway. So this was just somebody had posed the question. They didn't understand the obviously
Who the Lockmillers are.
the instruction on where this was running, and that was our bad not to properly identify it. So that was answered to them. The path in question runs east to west from Seaside Drive in front of Lot 14 to the driveway area in front of the Mayan Seaside dock, which is the proper description of what's going on with that. Number 7, what is the process to issue an RFP/RFQ? What is your process to select those vendors to whom you send the RFP/RFQ? What is your process to analyze analyze the responses? Who on the BOD is currently prime for this process? Will you consider asking for assistance for the current quotes in process? So the process and the selection of vendors is very much a whole board type of a decision. We have used people that have worked in Mayan Seaside that are reputable and have the ability to do the work. Just with regards to the last project that we did have priced out and quotes coming in for that just got completed. I was the person that effectively sourced out, or we asked within the group on who it was that worked here, who would we like to send it out to. So we sent it out to what ended up being 4 different contractors. 2 of them responded with written quotes. One of them asked if we would supervise, they would do the work, but wanted us to basically coordinate the materials, and they didn't have the whereabouts in order to do that. And we didn't want to be involved at that level. The 4th contractor bowed out and said that they had other things going on. The process of selection really is just the people that are on the board have lived here, several years and are quite aware, and I think all of us have done projects here, know the local contractors. If we can get somebody to work with us, obviously from Consejo/Corazel, then that's what we're looking for, as well as people that are familiar with Mayan Seaside. So that's really and as far as the prime on any for this process, there really isn't a prime for it. It gets vetted through all of us. Even the scope of work, as much as I came up with the scope of work, then it was sent to the rest of the board members. The rest of the board members critiqued and tweaked what that was, and then it was given out to the prospective contractors. The same with the quotes coming in. The quotes coming in were all reviewed by all board members to see that they were inclusive of what we wanted. If they weren't, we asked questions of the contractors, made sure that everything was covered, and then decided on who we were going to pick. So that it isn't a prime, so to speak. There is no one individual. There may be one person in that particular example. It was myself that started the document, but it wasn't necessarily what I wrote that ended up going out. With the last question, will you consider asking for assistance for the current quotes in process? Well, the only thing that we have two written quotes on breaking a seawall and putting a ramp in, which already that we had, Sue had mentioned, or no, Christine had mentioned that we may not go that direction if we see that upon inspection of these and maybe if we're getting one set done, maybe getting more than one set, maybe the answer is to leave the integrity of the seawall and then go with a fiberglass set of stairs on that. So we may be looking at it on a different direction for that and just seeing. So as far as assistance, we're absolutely open to anybody that has contractors that have worked for them that are, or even that they have a good reference for, to please send them in. And I guess the send their contact information in and send in why that you see them as being, you know, responsible, or just a little bit of backup information on why it is that you're sending them in. We would love to have more. The pool of contractors we go to, we would like that to be as big as possible.
Absolutely.
You know, so obviously certain projects, you're going to get a certain level of contractors. Right now, Sue's working on refurbishing our electrical boxes or
kiosks.
kiosks.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you're only going to get a certain type of contractor that's going to do that. The scope of work. So she already has 4 people, and these are in local. I think 3 of them live in.
2 of them live in the village.
Two of them live in the
One
village,
lives in-
and
yeah.
so
So they
you
all
know,
live close by.
these are people that have worked extensively in Mayan Seaside
There's a couple
on
working here
numerous
now.
different
Yeah.
properties. So we're, you know, I don't know that we need more than that in order to get an appropriate quote. If we have 4 people and they're all looking at exactly the same idea,
Scope,
Sue's
yeah.
been really great at being specific on what it is that we want for this project. So it'll be apples to apples, but we are always looking for more people to pick from. So
For
please,
sure.
please send them in. So I hope that answered that question. Number 8 would be, would it be possible to have fiberglass steps at each of the beaches, including an extra set between the 2 palapas, maybe for the platforms on the dock? The ramp at the volleyball beach gets quite slippery. We've had to wade through a lot of gunk to get into the water with the seaweed coming in. Also, who would be responsible for getting rid of the gunk? So that's just what we've kind of been talking about. So this extends it even beyond that. So there's definitely, you know, more than one person that has asked about stairs in at different points. So this one is just even asking for another set of stairs where the 2 palapas are and where we had the sunshade set up, breaking or going over the seawall, going over the seawall and having stairs go down there. And then stairs here, and then actually stairs going in back where we had at the Sunrise Beach. So let's find out what they cost. Let's find out if these ones are holding up. Let's find out what they cost. Then let's approach the community is my thing on where the priority lies. A second set here, a set here, another one here, a 4th set over on there. You know, what's the importance level? So I think we need community involvement in that. Again, it's been brought up, and it's definitely valid. There's enough people. So I think we have to really look at getting some hard pricing on it, and then look to see how important it is in what areas.
Yes.
The process of that, I'm not 100% sure of yet. Let's just do one step at a time, and then we'll get some pricing, and then we'll see how we can try to get some response on that. Not that funny, Barry.
No, I'm sure you said one step at a time, and so we're talking about steps.
Oh.
I know.
No pun
I think you
intended.
read my mind.
No
I did.
pun intended.
So that's where we're going with it. Yeah, we thank you again for all the people. We have one last question. There's an invasive vine growing atop roadside tree on lot 49. It's killing the tree already and can spread to other trees if not removed.
Right. And this was a question that came up, that was brought up a couple of meetings ago, and I think Greg had mentioned
Yeah,
talking with
well,
Flacco about
yeah,
that.
Him and I are gonna look at that.
Okay, so.
And then we have to talk to the owner. Once I get the information,
Okay,
he knows, I told him, and I have to look at something. so-
right.
And
So
then we'll get what he
we'll
says
get with
first,
him
what can be
and-
done there.
Okay.
We
Can we
just
remove the vine, or
remove
do we
the
have to
vine
remove
and
the tree?
tree will be
Yeah.
okay, and
Yeah,
then
I would think that.
is it okay with the owner?
Yeah.
It is, the tree is actually on the lot?
On the lot, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have to
Um,
address it with the
yeah.
owner.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
First
anything-
things first, I'll get Black and I are gonna do a little walk there, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that really, that comes to the end of our questions, and again, I thank everybody for writing in, and I hope that we addressed them, and if we didn't, and if you didn't think that we got to the gist of what you were looking for, please send us more or feedback or what have you, and then we'll definitely look into whatever your concerns are.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so motion made to adjourn the meeting.
I can make that motion.
Christine seconded.
Second that.
Okay.
Okay, we adjourn the meeting at, what time do we have? Oh, I don't have the time, tell me.
10:54.
10:54 a.m. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Now that your meeting's over, can I?
Okay, wait, should we schedule the next meeting now, or is it to be determined since?
Let's
everyone-
have it
To
to
be
be determined
Okay.
right now, because
Yeah.
we're just kind of in limbo a little bit with
With
people leaving.
people leaving,
And
I agree.
So,
So you're all right with that, Doug? We'll just determine.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm already gone.
Yeah.
And we have another meeting.
Yeah, and we have another meeting too, at 11, so, but we will,
concerns?
yeah,
Oh,
concerns.
it's not a concern.
Question,
It's
Yeah,
sorry.
question.
Thank you for what you've done so far.
Oh, well, thank you, we like to hear that, yeah.
I'll make it fast.
Yes.
I should have taken notes because someone suggested the white PVC pipes for around here.
Yes.
And someone else said to me, well, you can get PVC covered chain link
Uh-huh,
between, and that would look very nautical.
uh-huh,
So
that's an idea.
the soft sand to walk on is fantastic. I know there's no money right now, but it would be nice down the road
If all of the,
if it could all be done.
yes,
Please,
I totally agree, please send that in.
Please send that in.
Please
And
send
then
that
it'll
in.
become,
I will.
please do, because
Okay.
if enough people, again, it's just another thing that comes on, and,
If enough people
it's
say,
not
yeah.
it's a low maintenance issue.
Yeah.
It's easily done,
Oh, it'd be so appreciated.
it-
Except my husband wants it all concrete, so it's wheelchair.
Well, it's good for all, like
Everybody.
bicycles, wheelchairs.
yeah,
Yeah.
People are struggling
Yeah.
to walk.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just common sense. We're an elderly
Yeah,
community.
yourself, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
The next thing was.
I said that politely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying about the so-called poison going into the sea.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Because it's been misunderstood that it was trying to poison the water.
No,
Oh,
it-
no.
yeah.
What you said
Wasn't
made
making
sense.
any
Thank
sense,
you
yeah.
for
No.
making it
And,
clear.
Yeah.
and I will follow up on that, Carol, with material safety data sheet and on that, just so we know exactly what it is that we're being treated
I
with.
personally would see far less poison
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Right, right.
yeah. It was,
than boiling
yeah.
water or something.
Yeah. You're hired.
Careful.
Yeah.
Blowtorch.
Oh, yeah, oh, shucks.
And the next thing is, I don't know if you were here, but Sunrise Beach and Maya Beach,
Uh-huh.
that was, those of us who were here, that was totally volunteer. Shulin brought his crew out, hauled all the big tree stumps away. We funded the stairs and of course I pitched in, and we had the seawall built, that was all volunteer, that didn't cost.
Yeah.
That's nice,
But
nice.
the reason we put stairs, because rents were discussed, was the gunk.
Yeah,
And the reason we put the seawall was because the land was eroding.
yeah,
Mm.
for sure.
You need
Yeah.
a seawall.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was really the muckiness,
Mm.
and the other thing was stairs at that beach. I know there aren't children here very often, but when they are, the parents could sit on the stairs and watch the kids in the water,
Mhm.
and that's kind of gone. So that's
Mhm.
just a
Mhm.
Just to add up to the
Yeah.
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
That's good, thank you. Thanks for
Yeah,
your
and,
feedback.
Oh,
and
and
a-
one other thing.
Yeah, sure.
Wagner's Landing is still a development, so I was glad you mentioned that. Although I doubt very much anything will come of it, approaching them individually might make sense.
Yes, exactly, I mean,
And one more thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The sign, the Mayan Seaside sign that Ray said you really didn't have time to look after.
Right,
Perhaps we could have to start on something.
yeah,
I-
and that's another thing.
Yeah,
I
I think
agree.
that, I think that we were gonna kind of let that one, if there wasn't a response, then we would take it as that it's, you know,
Yeah.
we would take it upon ourselves to start to, to look at, okay, so the next step is that we just do it ourselves.
Right,
And I think it's important on that, on the Consejo Road to have some direction, because people come down here
Deliveries,
and we get
yeah.
deliveries sometimes, and
Yeah.
not everybody knows.
nuh-uh.
It,
And-
not even from, in Corozal, they don't. I mean,
No.
there's local people that don't know where this is.
Oh,
Yeah.
the shores, that's.
Well,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
1,500 signs at the entrance there.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Clay again for the awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Clay.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, this really makes it available to people, so it's huge. So thank you very much.
Everybody's away, it'll also allow you to continue to have meetings.
Yes.
Yeah,
We can do this anyway.
Yes,
awesome.
thank you.
Well, thank you
for
very
that.
much
Thank
for
you
that.
so
I really
much.
appreciate
Okay,
it.
thanks, everyone. We're signing off now.
Listen to your.
Thank you.
So I understand.